Most Airbnb hosts never actually make any real money. Not because they're doing things wrong, but because they're doing things the exact same way that everyone else is doing. And that is exactly why they stay stuck. The crazy thing is, it's not even about the property, the location, even the market. It's how they're thinking about things. We currently run 20 Airbnbs and we don't own a single one of them. We started this business whilst we were working 9 to 5s, but now we run the whole thing remotely and we travel the world in the meantime. So the reason I'm making this video is so that you can get ahead of 99% of all the other operators in the market. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips and they are hopefully going to help you hit the ground running, but I'm also going to break down a live Airbnb listing and I'll show you exactly how I would personally improve it. There's one mental shift that differentiates operators from the average Airbnb host. Real operators optimize for performance, whereas the average host just goes with what they think's right. Once you understand that, that's what will make all the difference. So to kick things off, let's talk about demand over a property. Most people just assume I need to find a nice property, and that is actually the first mistake. They don't consider the location. Having a nice property doesn't actually guarantee you bookings. The thing that actually matters here is there year-round demand? Who is actually booking in this area, and why would they choose this particular listing over your competitors? For example, a basic apartment in the right location will always outperform a super high-end luxury apartment in the wrong location every single time. And the difference here between the average host and a top operator is the operator will ask, do I just like this apartment, or is it going to book out consistently all year round? The next tip here is about knowing your numbers. Now, I know this sounds really cliche and I personally bang on about this so much. However, people skip this step and I really can't fathom why. So many people fall down at this step because they get the property, they list it on Airbnb and then just hope that bookings are going to land by their feet. They go live with no plan, no target audience, and no idea of what good actually looks like. Personally, before we take on any property, we know our numbers. So we know what a break-even point looks like. We know how much profit we're going to get at different occupancy levels. And we have a clear understanding of what our pricing strategy is going to look like throughout the year. For example here, let's say you rent an apartment, it's £1,500 a month. Then after your bills, your costs, you're at around about £2,000. That's your break-even point. You should know exactly how many nights that apartment needs to be booked out that month in order to break even, in order to hit that £2,000. If you don't know those numbers, you're not running a business here. It's practically gambling. Another key point here that a lot of average hosts overlook is knowing how to stand out. If you go on Airbnb right now and just scroll for 30 seconds, you'll find that a lot of properties look very generic. You get the same grey sofas, basic beds, no real life has been brought into these listings. And this is why a lot of people are missing this, because that's fine. If you're going to go for a very generic listing, fair enough, but you need to understand that when guests are searching and every listing looks the same, they're going to be looking at one key fact, and that's pricing. And the issue is here that the only lever you're able to pull is pricing, because that's what guests are looking for. And once you're at that point, it's basically just a race to the bottom between you and your competitors. And that is exactly how the average host loses out. But again, the difference here between an average host and a top operator is the operator will flip this and they'll say, okay, how can I make sure that this listing stands out so much that you can't physically scroll past it? Because what they understand is that if your listing stands out, then you don't have to compete on pricing. And lastly, a really key point here is that systems create freedom. The reason most hosts stay stuck is because they're building themselves into that business. They're replying to every single message. They're organizing their cleaners day in, day out, and they're handling a bunch of low value tasks, things that could have been outsourced very easily and very cheaply. Top operators do things very differently. They have automated messages. They hire reliable cleaners. They set up every single system and process so that the business can run efficiently. They know that once you've got this in place, you can scale very easily without burnout. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go onto Airbnb. I'm going to find a listing and I'm basically going to break it down with you guys so you can see exactly what I would do in order to improve it. Okay, so let's have a look. We're on Airbnb now. I'm going to switch over to traveling And let's just search. Let's search. I was searching up Carlisle earlier, just before I did this. So we're going to go for homes in Carlisle, put some random dates in, some random guests. Let's have a look and see what comes up. Okay, so first things first. These properties, they look really nice. That's no mistake. Airbnb showing us these. They're guest favorites. No surprise, right? They're presented really well. Okay, you know that these are really good examples. Again, really good. That's not great. There's that generic grey sofa we're talking about. So yeah, here's a couple of good ones, right? That we can, I mean, I could jump into this one straight away. Let's see what else we've got. Terrible. Why have we just got a random picture of the kitchen, dining room? What I'm really looking for here is something to stand out. Again, not great start, Carlisle. This looks lovely. This looks really, really nice. It's let down by, I mean, it's a stunning property, but it's really let down by these images. This is good. This is looking good. You know, if this is what I'm looking for, yeah, professional photography. This is a really, really good example here. This is not. Why have we got a close up of grey towels that don't even match? They're not even the same grey. With a blue throw yellow. Okay, like this is just every Airbnb ever. It looks like they've tried to be professional. I don't know if they're just yeah, terrible, absolutely terrible. Yeah, so okay, bit of an interesting start. This is good. This is also very good. Yeah, I mean, this is perfect. Let's just look at this one. Shining example. The images to me are a little bit dark. I don't know why they've kind of put this dark filter on, but maybe they're kind of going with like that countryside rural thing. You know, it's an old property. Yes, the property is beautiful, but the way that they're presenting it is also perfect. So first thing I would do is look at images. Yeah, looks great. You know, I'd want to book it, right? You know, the price is kind of 5-star guest favorite. Like the price, fair enough, justified. Let's go back and let's have a look at some of the bad ones that we saw. There's some good ones here. Okay, this one, right? Straight off the bat, I mean, the property's not great. Really interesting choice of color scheme here, but the thumbnail was just not inviting at all. No one really wants to look at this and go, oh yeah, I'd love to stay there. No professional pictures, or maybe there is, but maybe yeah, it looks okay. The professional photographer just didn't have a lot to work with here. We've got green all the way through. You know, that bed is not inviting at all. They couldn't be bothered with this, right? We've got deflated beanbags on the floor. So straight away, images are not doing it for me. Okay, that's like the first thing. You have lost interest from this booker. Next, we've got pricing. I don't know this area. Maybe we could compare it with kind of what's going on elsewhere. Park for free apparently is a highlight amenity. You should have maybe a few more. They've got one review. I'm not surprised. This is their description. One line. Like, it just shows me that this host could not be bothered to fill their Airbnb listing out. Yeah, great. 3 weeks ago, so it must be fairly new. It's slap bang in the center. Like, they've got so much going for it. It is just super, super poor. So yeah, what I would really do is sort out the images first. I get a professional photographer in, turn lamps on, turn lights on. You know, it's not a bad property. It's always got character, but it just needs dating a little bit. Really, really not good looking. There's not much for me to even rip apart on this listing because they've got barely any. They don't even offer a hairdryer. That's like a basic amenity. If I'm going away, I don't want to take a hairdryer with me, or Holly doesn't want it to anyway. Great, we've got Wi-Fi and a washing machine and a TV. Amazing. Oh, and cutlery. You know, there's so much wrong with this. Like, this person in a couple of months' time are going to be going, Airbnb sucks. This you know, this strategy is terrible. I didn't make any money. I'm not surprised, right? Let me go back to this. Like, I know they're totally different properties, but what's drawing you in more? It's night and day. It really, really is. Let's have a look at what these guys are doing. They got 5-star. They've got all this stuff here. Things ready, meals at home. Okay, 1 hour drive to the Lake District. Look at this description. Beautiful. This is what we're going for. Information. They filled out where the bedrooms are. They've got all the amenities, 67 amenities listed. You know, the pricing, again, it just doesn't matter. So look, It is clear as day. That is exactly what you should be aiming for. Check out listings in your area, find out which ones are best, and aim to be as good, if not better, as those ones. Look, I hope you enjoyed this video and it's given you a bit of a clear idea of how to get started if you're taking on your first unit, how to be better than what your competition is. If you're already operating and you think that you've missed a few bits out that I've mentioned in this video, try implementing them and see how your business improves over the next few weeks, if not a couple of months. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe. We share as much information we can about our experience of running Airbnbs over the last 6 years. And if you're not already, make sure to follow us on Instagram. It is Ben&Holly_property. And if you are interested in potentially getting started but don't know how, or you just want that right guidance so that you can fast track your way to success, we do offer one-on-one mentorship through our academy. In here, we've helped hundreds of people break away from their 9-to-5s and build up a passive income with Airbnb using property that they don't even own. Drop us a message on Instagram. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction.